spent more in Vietnam, for example, and there was a huge tariff or a huge deficit, then he would be punitive in the amount of tariff to make up for that gap.
Yeah, I mean, basically what Trump did is he assumed every deficit was due to hidden tariffs that we couldn't see, right? If we have a deficit with this country, they must be cheating with some non-tariff barriers that we can't quantify, and so we're just going to assume that there are tariffs, and we're going to reciprocate against those non-existent tariffs, which to me is a lie. He doesn't have the authority to do that. You can't change the meaning of a word to take power that was never given to you. So, I mean, the whole thing is illegal. And so one of the things that might save us is that the courts strike it down. But how long does it take for that to happen? Somebody has to sue withstanding, and then the court has to hear it. But again, and the Republicans that control Congress are afraid to stand up to him.
So they'll just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, they got no spine. I mean, Rand Paul will do it. He's like the only guy out there that I see, but then he's always the only guy. You know, we just, unfortunately, don't have enough Rand Pauls.
But why go so aggressive and against every country? And then he's saying, not only do you have to make up for these deficits, but the money you cost us in the past, you're going to have to pay for that too.
Look, it's nonsense. There's no rhyme or reason. It's, as I said, I think he's on a mission from God. He just thinks he's, the holy man.
By the way, what you're explaining is called the Messiah complex.
Yeah, all right, Davey, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, well,
does it take for that to happen? Okay, so there's a guy with his hand up. He's got like some Chinese symbols or something in his name. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a long traveler.
Hey.
Hi, Peter. I just want to say thank you so much. I'm a fan of you for almost 20 years. I watched, 2007, those two fools laugh at you on the CNBS. And I was shorting the stocks, shorting the banks, home builders, listen to you at that time. So very big fan of you. And I think you are the most honest economist. And also, you are the only one makes any sense in this country. It's a travesty that Trump did not use you in his administration. I hope in the future you'll be one in a position to help American rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, nothing would make me happier than to be able to, go down to Washington and actually advise him to do the right thing. But right now, I think the environment around him is way too toxic for that to happen. I mean, he's also surrounded by people. The crypto people wouldn't let me anywhere near him. But all they care about is making money in their tokens. People say, well, Peter, you're just saying this stuff because you own gold and you want to make money. I own gold because I know the government's going to do the wrong thing. But I'm not encouraging them to do the wrong thing. I want them to do the right thing. But my investment portfolio is based on them not listening to me. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to shut up. So everything, when people say, oh, you're just talking because you want to make the price of gold go up. The price of gold is going to go up whether I talk or not. But I want the government to do the right thing. If they did the right thing, I would make less money than I'm going to make by them doing the wrong thing. So if they do the wrong thing, I make a lot more money. But I don't need to make that money. I'd rather them do the right thing because I care more about the country than about my making money. But if the country's going to collapse and I can either make money or lose money, well, I might as well make it, right? Because those are my choices. I can profit from the collapse or I can lose. But, hopefully I make enough money that maybe I can make a difference. I mean, because if I were to run from office, I ran for Senate one time, and I didn't. I self-financed to a degree, but I also raised money.
I just want to say that you're doing the right thing. What you just said, you said many years ago. I heard you made this point at least maybe more than 10 years ago that you don't want to make this money. But I just want to say that what's coming, maybe Trump is basically, just like you said, breaking the bubble. This bubble was created maybe more than 20 years ago. Trump had nothing to do with this. But
but Trump did keep it going. Like the years, Trump claims that when he was president, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world, which is not true. While he was president, the bubble that he inherited from Obama got bigger. That's all that happened.
Exactly.
And then he handed it over to Biden. But here's
I don't know how to run from office, guy Rev.
He says that foreigners have been ripping us off, and that's the problem. Well, they were ripping us off when he was president the last time, and he claims we had the greatest economy in the history of the world. And so if the economy was so great during his first term, when we were getting ripped off, then what's the problem with getting ripped off? And we had this great economic boom when he was president the first time. Because the trade deficit got bigger under Trump. It didn't get smaller. So he claims we had the greatest economy ever. And during the Trump term, the 4 years, the trade deficits hit all-time record highs. So he inherited a big trade deficit from Obama, and it got much bigger when he was president. He claims that we had the greatest economy in the history of the world while he was making the trade deficits bigger.
But the problem is that, he has way more trouble on his hand other than in economic, difficulties. I mean, he has to allow those games to play. But anyway, my point is that, you are doing the right thing. And in the future, if everybody understands what really happened in the past, you will be the only one guy proved to be correct, for all the thing and everything you said in the past. So you will be the only one.
Yeah, I think I have been completely right on everything I've said about the big picture of the economy, going back to even before the dot-com bubble. I was critical. I just didn't have a big enough fan base. But I remember during the dot-com bubble predicting that, the whole thing would implode and these stocks would crash. And so I got the dot-com bubble.
He was making the trade deficit bigger.
Right. The only thing is that I didn't get the timing on the real crash, the final crash, because they kept finding ways to make the problems worse by kicking a can down the road. But none of the problems have been solved. Every problem that I warned about has gotten worse, just like I predicted it would. I mean, I always said that it would get worse because it's not going to end until we have a complete crisis.
And and I just have a question that I don't think this is a tariff war or economic war. I think this is maybe a currency war. The Chinese already ready to have their chip system running in 2016.
Now
they're totally ready to push it, all over the world. So I think this is a totally currency war, and I think Trump knows that he has to destroy the FRN, Federal Reserve Notes, and I think he's pushing for gold as well. The reason they want to audit the Fort Knox, they already give a lot of signs of what they actually plan to do. So I think Xi Jinping and Trump actually probably play the same game, and we're going to see it. Everything will start to turn.
The problem is that Trump is just not going to. The way he's gone about this, because if you tell everybody that it's going to boom and it's going to be great, and then it crashes, who the hell is going to believe anything you say? So if he says, "Oh, I know what to do now," it's like, well, what do you mean? Why should we believe you? You told us that this wasn't even going to happen. You said that everything was going to be great.
So
he called
it
Liberation Day. I mean, he didn't call it, bite the bullet day, time to atone for our past sins day, austerity day. He celebrated it like everything is going to be great. Like, hey, let's have a big parade. This is our Liberation Day. I mean, he was asking us to celebrate our own funeral.
Well, it has to be dead first, right? I think the Liberation Day will be liberate us from the U.S. dollar that is nothing backed by nothing.
Right,
So
that's what's been giving us our high standard of living. That dollar, we've been living off that dollar.
Yeah, but it's ending now. That's
I think so. That's going to be great. But it surprised me before. It's been very resilient. It keeps surviving. But it can't.
Well, it's not longer than we, it's not longer than we thought.
I'm 100%. If the tariffs stay where they are for the next several months, the dollar's toast, because the tariffs will implode the economy and cause a financial crisis. Because the people who are impacted by the tariffs won't be able to pay their debts. And when people can't pay their debts, the lenders are in trouble. So the tariffs will implode the whole house of cards. So the question is, will they get rid of them in time? And then, yes, if we'll get a bounce in the market, but it may be a dead cat bounce. It may be that it's impossible to put these worms back in the can.
I think Chinese already decided not to sell American anything anymore. They are not going to buy the dollar anymore. And they're dumping the treasury bill right now. So I think their plan for a long time already, they are rolling now. So the next few months will be pretty bad for us.
He's already decided not to sell. Let me look at the value of the yuan, because the Chinese yuan was on a record low today, and let me see what it's doing tonight. It's down again slightly, 0.15%. We're at 7.35. But if we start to see the yuan rallying, if we start to see the yuan strengthening, that would be a big sign that it's about to hit the fan. Yeah, because right now
Thank you so much.
It's still going down. All right, but anyway, who wants to raise their hand and speak? Because all I got is Clinton, but he's already talked a lot. We got to get.
Well, let me ask you another quick question. It ties into a lot of this. So, Peter, you're old enough to remember that in the late 1990s, the culmination of Newt Gingrich in this working with the Senate and the House with President Clinton, the combination of the two, managed to get some balanced budget working. Why do you think that we haven't been able to get to that point again from 30 years ago?
Well, first of all, there was a lot of sleight of hand going on with that balanced budget, because first of all, they balanced it during the dot-com bubble. And so in the late 1990s, they got a lot of tax revenue coming in from capital gains and people selling their stock options and stuff like that. And Robert Rubin, who was the Secretary of Treasury, he's the one that started to refinance the national debt short to artificially reduce the interest expense on the national debt. So we had a bubble, and so we got extra tax revenue. We monkeyed around with the term of the debt to suppress our interest rates, and we were able to produce a balanced budget for a year, but only if you exclude all the off-budget items, which they did, because every single year during the Clinton presidency, the national debt went up. So in reality, we never had a balanced budget, but they pretended it was balanced because they didn't count a lot of off-budget items that were actually there. So, but yeah, I mean, and the reason we were able to achieve it somewhat is we had a Republican Congress, they got a Democratic president, and so they were at odds with one another, and that is generally the best combination. And Clinton was a decent politician, and he saw that the Republicans got the House, and so he kind of worked with them. But the worst thing is when you have the same party that has both chambers, because then it's just Christmas, even if it's Republicans, because they just cut taxes, but they never cut spending. And so when you have a Republican president and a Republican Congress, you just get bigger deficits. They're only willing to go against deficit spending when they're in the opposition. So when there's a Democratic president, they're willing to oppose the Democratic president, but they'll give the Republican president whatever he wants. And so it's it's just going to end in disaster. Right now it's just terrible. Because look, the Republicans are about to sign a $5 trillion increase in the national debt, in the debt ceiling. That's the biggest increase in the debt ceiling ever. The Republicans.
Clinton was a decent politician, and he saw that
Trump
the Republicans
is leading the charge. Trump is demanding that the Republicans in Congress increase the debt ceiling. Right? If he really wanted to reduce the debt, he would be demanding that the ceiling stay in place, so we can cut spending and balance the budget. I mean, the government collects $5 trillion in taxes. Why do we have to spend $7 trillion? Just spend 5. Cut $2 trillion. Elon Musk says, "Hey, I'm going to cut $2 trillion." Okay, fine, cut it. But no, that's all bullshit. They're not cutting anything. They're just talking about cutting. Look at what they do. Don't look at what they say. They're jacking up the debt ceiling because they're not cutting spending. They're increasing spending. Congress is going to spend more under Trump than it's spent under Biden. That's the reality. That's what's happening right now.
So another quick question then for you. So setting aside the earlier discussions about the Asian trade pact. So if we look at the Western allies, sort of longtime allies, so Canada, France, the UK, so on and so forth. How does the United States recover when you have Trump essentially accusing the strongest allies of essentially being enemies, and the enemies, in this case, Russia, North Korea, so on and so forth, they're the allies? Like, how do you recover from that kind of?
I don't know that you. I mean, look again. To me, the guy said Messiah complex. I mean, it could be also a paranoia. Like the whole world is out to get us. Like everyone is screwing us over, right? And that sound. I mean, the electorate kind of likes that. Like it's like, yeah, you tell him, Trump. Yeah, don't let people push us around anymore. No more Mr. Nice Guy. We need. He keeps saying all the other presidents were idiots, right? All the other presidents let this happen. I'm not going to let it happen. Well, you let it happen for the 4 years you were president the first time, right? Because the trade deficit went up. But he thinks everybody else is an idiot, and he's the only one that knows, right? And this is what we have to do. And he's getting support. But that support is going to go away as the obvious, catastrophe rears its head. So the question is, it's like, how many Republicans are going to go down with this ship? When are a few going to start abandoning ship? I mean, how much water do we have to be under before you start to see, the mutiny?
Well, and the other issue I'm also curious your thoughts on is we sort of see this big push to the orders to deport people and to sort of shut down immigration and this kind of thing. I mean, there's a large number of highly skilled individuals that are in need, whether it's engineers, whether it's medical professionals, whatever. Is there a worry or concern from your part that as more of that sort of anti-immigration culture takes hold, that it's going to leave some gaping holes in much needed parts of the U.S. economy?
Yeah, look, most of the anti-immigration stuff was, again, scapegoating. Yes, are there bad immigrants who have come in and committed crimes and committed murder? Absolutely. There's plenty of non-immigrants, people that are here legally, that are committing crimes and committing murder, right? So to me, it doesn't make, if I get robbed by a legal American, natural born, or an immigrant, I don't care. I mean, I don't want to get robbed. I don't think it's worse if the guy who robbed me is illegal. I mean, it's like, oh, I got robbed, but God, at least the guy was a legal citizen. No, I mean, I'm not going to be relieved because the guy that robbed me was here legally, right? I'm still robbed, right? But most of the people that are here illegally, That's the only law they broke. They're hardworking people trying to improve their lives. And so they came to America to improve their lives, to improve their families' lives. And so kicking them out is a net negative. I think that, yes, we're going to get rid of some bad hombres, but we're going to get rid of some good hombres. And we're going to get rid of more good people than we are bad people. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm in favor of illegal immigration. I want to make it easier for the good people to come in, right? But we don't do that. It's still a very cumbersome red tape, and it's hard to get in. And I want to make it easier for people who want to come here and work and be honest to come in. What's going on now? The bond market is on the lows here. We're about to go to 4.9 on the 30-year. We're 4.41 on the 10-year. But this was not supposed to happen, right? We're getting a stock market crash where the bond market is crashing too, and the dollar is going down. So again, this is exactly what I said the end was going to look like. When you get the bond market going down, the stock market going down, the dollar going down, it is a run on U.S. assets. And remember, Donald Trump claimed that the tariffs were going to cause money to come into the country, right? Oh, all this money is going to come into America. It's leaving America. Money is fleeing the United States. So the money that is supposed to finance the build out of our factories is leaving the country. So the opposite, again, every time the government does something, the opposite of what they hope to achieve is what happens. So Trump was hoping to lure capital in. Hey, you want to avoid the tariffs? Just bring the capital here. Build it over here. So instead of causing money to come into the country, his tariffs are getting it sucked out of the country. That's what's happening.
So then you think that what he said right now he was wearing like a tuxedo with like a bow tie. He just said that everybody's kissing his ass. That the countries are calling him and they're kissing his ass.
Yeah, I would call that bluff. I think in his mind, that's what's happening. But in reality, I don't think there's any ass kissing going on at all. What's the point? What are you going to do? They put a 50-60% tariff on you. It's so absurd. What are they going to do? Oh, I'll lower it down to 30%. Again, if I was one of these countries, all I would be doing is trying to make deals with other countries to have more free trade. I'd say, look, the American market is gone. Fuck that. Let me figure out. Let's get something else going on. So I don't think anything. Just like the $5 trillion he claims has already been invested. Just like what's his name, Howard Lutnick says he's already sold 10,000 golden visas. Bullshit. These guys they just talk. They just say whatever they feel like saying. Anyway, I got
Peter.
All right, I got what is that with somebody's got his hand up? MA or
That's MAGA Man.
MAGA Man.
Yeah,
Okay, you're the guy I want to hear from, MAGA Man.
Eric had his hand up first. If you want to go to him,
Has Eric already spoken? I think
Yes, I've spoken. Go ahead, my guy. I was last trip.
Okay. Well, hey Peter, how you doing? Hey, just a heads up, man. If you make a co-host, you can have them bring up people and stuff like that. That might make it a little
here's
easier
the
on
problem
you. So
I've had with co-hosts. They can never see all the people that have their hands up. They're like, oh, I can see like 5 people, and there's like 50 people that are requesting to speak. So they have a hard time seeing everybody.
Okay, so my question for you, and not so much a question, it's more of a statement, is that we didn't have tariffs before at all, right? It was a free-for-all, and you see these countries that have 90% tariffs or whatever that are bringing
that's
to
the
them.
point. Trump is making this shit up. Now,
But it's not. That's not. But so I'll make the statement, and then you can have a rebuttal, right? So we have these countries like outside of Australia. You have a little island that's not even. No one lives there, but they funnel everything through that little island, or say that they're funneling it through that island, and charge us a 90% tariff from that island. So we basically reciprocate, go, okay, we're going to give you a 45% tariff from anything coming from that island now. And in doing that, I think this whole tariff situation is basically to go, hey, we're just going to eliminate tariffs all the way around, and we'll take away our 90%, you take away your 45%, and we'll call it a day. I think that's what the ultimate goal of these tariffs.
That's not what's happening, because first of all, that little island doesn't have any tariffs at all, right? That's the point. The little island, it's just got hit with these reciprocal tariffs. But again, the tariffs, no country charges us a tariff. They charge their own citizens a tariff. The tariff is not on the other country. No government can tax the citizens of another country. They can only tax their own citizens. So, but what Trump is doing, is every country has some tariffs on some of their goods, right? But the vast majority of goods have no tariffs or very low, 1%, 2%, 3%. Same in America. Like most of our goods have very low tariffs. But you'll find, I think pickup trucks, we had 25% tariffs on foreign pickup trucks. We've got huge tariffs on peanuts. We've got huge tariffs on sugar. There are certain agricultural products that we protect. And every country does the same thing, right? They have a couple of products where they have a high tariff. But the